And now it's time for Shelf Life, news from the Whitchurch-Stouffville Public Library, with your host, librarian Catherine Sword.
Hello, everyone, and today we'll be getting to my guest shortly. We have an author in the studio, but I also wanted to alert some authors out there, writers out there, of an upcoming library program. At the end of the month, Saturday, September 28th, at 1 p.m. till 2:30, we will have speed dating for writers. Now, no, I am not trying to set people up romantically. It's for writers to find a writing buddy. Also on that day, I've got 2 volunteers who are considering establishing a writing group at our library throughout the fall and the winter. So this is your opportunity to come for that. There are only 20 spots for the speed dating at $10 a person. And if you miss that and you still want to join us at 3 o'clock, we're going to have a couple of guests coming. Nancy K. Clark from Commuter Lit, which is a website out of the Toronto area for writers. And also, I'm still in negotiations, but there will be a demonstration of the Wattpad website too, which is another community of writers, and people who just like to read can go there and find their latest new books. And on that, I have in the studio with me Mike Poeltl. He's been here before with his trilogy, but now he has a standalone book called Her Past Present. And this is a topic I'm very much interested in, Mike. Tell our listeners a little bit about this book.
If I had to place it as a genre, it's kind of a difficult book to just nail down to one genre. I've almost, I fear, written myself out of a genre because of it. I wasn't sure how to classify it.
Okay. Now, maybe we should tell our listeners, you started off with a trilogy that was science fiction in origin. And no, this is not traditionally science fiction.
Paranormal, a little bit, with the past lives that are involved. That's sort of where I think I've landed. If I had to nail it down to a genre, I guess I'd say paranormal.
I think I would disagree because it's very identifiable. You're talking about past lives and reincarnation and whatnot. And I think that's an interesting topic that people are curious about. And this is where I would say that the power of fiction comes in. When a person is just curious about this idea, they may not want to read a lot of texts and research, although we're going to get to your research a little later. But sometimes a person just wants to see, how would that work? And I'm thinking of 2 other books at the library, Andrew Davidson's Gargoyle and Kim Stanley Robinson's Years of Rice and Salt, both dealing with reincarnation and how lives come forward. So I think of it as just general fiction. Anyone would want to pick this up, and it's an identifiable story with some neat philosophy.
Okay. Well, that's great. I was going to discuss that with you later, but that's fair. Yeah. Okay, good.
No? So what kind of research did you do then for this? What's your interest in past lives?
I've always been interested in things like that, paranormal, occult sort of things. A couple of years ago, my life took a turn, and I just wanted some new reason, purpose, if you will. And I actually looked it up and found somebody who could hypnotize me and actually pull past lives from me.
Oh, that's amazing.
It was a really interesting experience. So I did it. I was actually experienced 3 lives that I'd lived in the past, one of which I put in the book because I thought it was an interesting passage.
Okay.
It was very enlightening. I've always had the question, what's next? What comes after? And this is one of those possibilities that really intrigues me. And I like the idea of threading a life from your past, see how it affects your present and what your possible future and how you can live your life in this world to affect your future life.
I think you're right on that, and that's what this book does as well, is we'll shortly get to a scene where you're going to read the opening and introduce the characters, and listeners out there will realize that we're talking about your day-to-day, people that you meet every day, yourself. And whether you believe in past lives or not, it's a theory that we could have those lives affecting our life now. And just that one idea for a person to sit and contemplate, what do I do that I'm repeating that, maybe it's not my...
The idea that perhaps you've got a fear of heights in this life, that could very well have been something that happened to you in a past life to give that fear to you. And that's one of the things that I guess people that help you relive your lives try to make you understand, and possibly the fear would go away.
Right, facing that.
Yeah, understanding where it comes from. For me, I got quite a bit out of it. You basically pick the lives when you're under the hypnosis. That makes sense in this life. Like, what am I suffering from right now? Sort of like in this moment.
Right. Right. Those are the things you have to deal with. May I ask if you've ever read any Buddhism? Because it sounds
Yep.
like a little bit of that.
Yeah, I have. I've read the Buddhist Book of Living and Dying, I believe
Yeah.
it.
The Tibetan Book of Living
Tibetan,
and Dying?
yeah,
Yes.
sorry. Great book.
Oh,
I
yes.
read that in my teens, actually. Yeah.
Yes, and some of the energies that's coming through from previous lives is not all negative. You get strengths from the lives you've built on.
Yep.
What's that wonderful quote about you standing on the shoulders of great people? You know the one I'm referring to, though?
I know what you mean, yeah.
That too puts a different slant on it. It's not just the learning of all the great scientists and great people before us, but we're living on the shoulders of our own personal past lives history.
Yeah.
Shall we jump in and let people hear what these characters sound like? Let's have that first reading.
So this first reading is the opening scene of the book, which finds Tess and her husband confronting his infidelity, and the catalyst to Tess's story. It wasn't your fault. These are healing words, something Tess's therapist had her write out 1,000 times when she was 12. It became her mantra, a reassurance that what had happened to her baby brother could in no way be her fault. Today, 15 years after the suicide that had devastated her young life and the lives of her parents, she finds power in those words once more. "I'm sorry," says Sam, her husband, who's standing stock still in front of her. All that separates them is the granite-topped island situated in the middle of a kitchen under renovation. It is the only working surface available to lean on should he confirm her fears. "Please," she pleads. "Please just tell me it doesn't mean anything. Tell me it was just the one time and I can forgive you." She isn't hopeful for this outcome, but can't bear the thought of the consequences that follow such an act. To be a single mother amidst all the renovations and bills and contractors and sleepless nights, it's overwhelmed her the past few days, and her already pale complexion is rapidly fading to a sickly, almost translucent white. His head drops slowly, his eyes studying the grout lines framing the new tile at his feet. His heart isn't in this. He was far from ready to tell his wife of 5 years he'd met someone else, that since the last month of her pregnancy, he'd been seeing another woman. That is a significant amount of time, Sam's decided, and he's very much committed to this new woman, but not at all ready to tell his wife. "Tess," he struggles with her name. His chin begins to tremble. "Please, tell me it will be okay," she begs. "Tell me that you love me." "I do love you, goddammit," he manages through clenched teeth. His fist falls with a weak thump on the black granite counter, while his other hand finds his face, defending her from his diminishing facade. He jerks and cries into his shield, turning away from Tess. "Then why?" Tess begs, slowly sinking to her knees, coming to rest on the dusty tile, her back landing against the cupboard of the island. "I don't know why," he turns and slides down the opposite side of the island. "I don't know." "Please don't leave me with nothing," she begs. "If I had an answer, I'd give it. Please. I don't have an answer for you. I haven't an answer for myself." Her voice cracks. "If you love me, be with me." "Don't you think I want that? Don't you think I want to be happy here? You're not happy? You know I'm not. I'm sorry if I haven't had time to put into you. We have a baby. Jesus, I know we have a baby, and I love her, but I feel like the walls are closing in on me." Tess shifts uncomfortably, the thin fabric of her pajama pants offering little insulation from the cool tile. "It's okay to feel trapped, but you need to talk to me. It's not you. Then what? Me. It's me. It's not your fault," she tells herself. "It's not your fault."
That's wonderful. Many people feel this way in our lives. I know I've been in situations thinking, geez, if I'd only done it better, well, and then I try to explain myself away. Now, this story is also a day-to-day mystery. Can you tell us a little bit about that without giving too much away, obviously?
Sure, yeah. Basically, her husband, Sam, has had an affair, and so their lives sort of fall apart. He goes his way, she goes hers. Hers is a choice she makes to enroll herself into a mental health facility to get the help that she feels she needs from the stress of her day-to-day, and her parents come to look after her baby for a couple of weeks while she's doing this. She meets another person in the hospital named Tibor, who is going to come on strong, and he's going to tell her that he knows her, he recognizes her from a past life.
Are we getting into that area where it might be telling too much?
There's so much going on in this book. It's very difficult to actually give a brief synopsis.
No, I don't mean to give everyone the whole story, but I just want people to realize that as much as I'm excited about the past life storyline going through that, you can read this easily. It is about a woman who's had this crisis of her husband was unfaithful. What do you do? Puts her into a tailspin, and I admire that she's smart enough right early on to they realize I need help, and checks herself in. So all of that process I found also fascinating in itself. So you've got a couple of storylines, and I can appreciate that it's difficult.
Yeah, I've had a hard time trying to include everything that's going on in the book into a short synopsis. I guess the back of the book.
It gives you the hook.
It gives you the hook, yeah.
It gives you the hook, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, we're not going to dwell too long on that, although the characters are nice. I have to say that from your trilogy, your writing is getting even better. So it moves smoothly. I'm not quite through, but I'm enjoying where I'm at the moment. And after the break, I think we'll go into the writing process. But before then, let me just very quickly, on the back it says she's wondering if she can heal her present by making peace with her forgotten past. I think that past life set aside, that's a topic that we can contemplate in this lifetime too. I think also in your characters we see that she's just trying to deal with her husband's infidelity now. How did I get to that? Is that a fair assumption too?
Yeah, that's fair, yeah. The big catalyst is her husband basically leaving her, and then all the things that follow. It's a journey of discovery for herself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we all have catalysts at some point of our life, so we need to have those. Maybe they force us to look back. That's another good way. And again, I enjoy the power of fiction to work these things out, and hopefully people will read it and realize, oh, yeah, this isn't that uncommon. Did you do some research on mental health issues too?
Yep, I have. I researched a few mental health facilities in the area, and the one that I fashioned the hospital in the book after is one where you can go in as a volunteer, and they take bigger cases, more difficult cases. They're not in the same area.
Now, we're about to go to the station break, and I'm going to clear up one thing. You said in the area, although you were Stouffville born and raised, you're actually living in the Hamilton area, I believe?
Yep.
Yep.
That's right.
Okay, so we're going to take a station break, and we're going to come back, and I'm going to talk to you about